Hi everybody, welcome back to 100% Mags. So this is your match review for the game against Burnley yesterday down at Turf Moor. And of course Burnley coming away from that game 1-0 winners with a Chris Wood goal on the 58th minute. Now, talking about the game, the reason Burnley come away with a win in this game is off a refereeing error from Tim Robertson. Of course, he was having his debut. Everybody will remember Tim Robertson from the game against Leicester early on in the season, where he failed to send off Chahundi. And again, yesterday, he had an absolute crap fest of a game. He was just all over the place. He didn't know what he wanted to do. He didn't want to call the decisions properly, and talking about the performance as well in the game. Newcastle were missing Alan St. Maxim, were missing John Joe Shelvey, were missing Almiron. There was quite a few different players missing thanks to Southampton in there, snacking at the heels of our players. So we had to go into this game with Andy Carroll up top, which isn't a bad thing, because Andy adds that little extra something up top. So he did all right in the game, to be honest, in my opinion. Andy Carroll, a lot better than Joe Linton did. Joe Linton had to move out onto the left wing to take up the role where Maximin would have been playing in the game. And, Joe Linton did have one good chance in the game, and that was about the 70-odd minute or something like that. And he went and smashed a volley towards goal. Of course, it hit the side net of Nick Pope's goal. And it would have been an absolute sensational goal if it had went in, but at the end of the day, it didn't go in. So if you look at the way we played in the game, we came away from this game with 52% possession over 48% possession of Burnley. Sean Dyche's guys weren't there. They didn't seem to have any real attacking threat. Neither did Newcastle, to be honest. We didn't have any attacking threat in the game. And it just looked like it was going to be one of them games where both teams end up drawing, and it's an absolute snowfest of a game. And then, of course, that refereeing error by Tim Robertson, he went and chose a goal kick when it should have been a free kick, because Federico Fernandez got fouled before the ball went out for play, and it should have been a free kick to Federico Fernandez, but instead he chose a goal kick to Newcastle. Then he decided to change his mind on the advice of his assistant and went with a corner to Burnley, which of course Ashley Westwood whipped that ball in from the corner and up jumped Chris Wood to bang it in the back of the net. Now, talking about the way Burnley played in the game, they didn't really have any attacking threat, like I say. They didn't seem to really threaten Newcastle that much. Newcastle didn't threaten back neither. We were pretty poor yesterday, but at least we had a reason behind that. We had the reason in the fact that there was no Maximin, there was no John Joe Shelvey, there's no Miguel Almiron. There's three of the attacking force gone out of the team. So at least we had a reason for why we weren't playing as good. But Burnley, they had their full team out. They had Chris Wood, they had Ashley Barnes. Something I want to talk about as well about the game. Ashley Barnes, multiple elbows throughout the game, on Newcastle players. Never once got a card. That just shows you the inexperience of Tim Robertson as a referee. He never once carded any Burnley player for any of the fouls that they did on Newcastle players. Newcastle, of course, did some fouls, and Andy Carroll got a yellow card for an elbow on Ben Mee. It was pretty much similar to what Ashley Barnes had already done about 3 or 4 times in the game, and he never got a card for it. So, why give Andy Carroll a card? That's something that you've got to think about, But going into this game, if we had have won it against Burnley, we would have been moving up to either 5th or 6th in the table, but we're still sitting at the end of the day 11th in the table, 22 points. All that we can do, is think about this game now is just dropped points, you know, and move on to the next game. We've got Crystal Palace coming up in the 21st, and you know, hopefully we can come away from that game with the win, you know, and some points on the board again. We've still got a chance, of course, to move up into the top half of the table, 5th or 6th as well, if games go in our favour. But let us know your thoughts about the game yesterday. You know, I thought it was pretty lackluster from Newcastle, lackluster from Burnley, you know, and I think Burnley were kind of lucky in the fact that the ref had a very bad game and made a very bad decision, and they capitalised on that, of course, and come away with a win with Chris Wood's header. Credit though to Sean Dyche, you know, because he did come out after the game and he did say why was Tim Robertson reffing in this game, you know, when he's such an inexperienced referee, because this game is very vital to both teams. You know, this can decide whether we'll stay up or we'll go down. You know, same for Burnley, it decides whether we'll stay up or go down. It's an absolute joke that a guy as inexperienced as Tim Robertson can be allowed to ref our game. You know, why not put him in, like Sean Dyche said, why not put him into one of the bigger games, you know, where there's not as much of a chance that he can cost a team their place in the Premier League. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, remember to like, share, subscribe to 100% Mags, and I'll see you all next time. How are the lads?